Joined live now by Khalil Jahshan. He's the Executive Director at the Arab Center in Washington, D.C. Khalil, we've seen 4 straight days of violence. Is there any chance of a ceasefire soon?
It doesn't look like it as a development to take place soon. Escalation is continuing. You and I were talking yesterday about 300 essentially missiles or rockets, even though the term is a bit of an exaggeration, launched at Israel. Today we're talking about 1,000 of those, and we're talking about 300 intercepted. So the escalation is serious. Of course, the casualties also reflect the seriousness of that escalation. We have, instead of 10, we have 33, as you just reported, killed in Gaza, mostly by hitting residential areas in the Strip. And we're talking about Israeli threats that this will continue, and as your reporter just quoted him, until their goals are achieved. The question that begs an answer right now is, what are the goals? Considering the fact that this is essentially a political campaign that has nothing to do with security, it's basically politics by other means.
Khalil, I was just about to ask you, what are those goals? Just spell it out for us. What do you think Israel is trying to achieve here?
Essentially, what happened is a normal tit-for-tat clash between Islamic Jihad, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and Israel over essentially the death of one of their leaders, Khalil Adnan, who was a hunger striker in an Israeli jail. He passed away in jail, and of course, Palestinian Jihad considers that an assassination in a way. And so they retaliated. Usually that has been in the past kept under control. But this time, the political circumstances, the fact that this came, the challenge to Netanyahu, in the midst of political turmoil within the cabinet, that he was being challenged internally by fellow cabinet members, fellow allies in the coalition that governs Israel at this time. And they insisted that unless he retaliates against the Palestinians and sheds Palestinian blood, they will refuse, as Ben Gvir did, to participate in the cabinet deliberations or to participate in the Knesset deliberations. Therefore, it was political blackmail, essentially, internally, homemade, that forced Netanyahu to engage in this essentially military operation that he called Shield and Arrow, that had nothing to do with military realities as much as with political realities within his cabinet.
And Khalil, as ever, it's the civilian population in Gaza who suffer. So our understanding is that the crossings have been closed. Just talk us through the humanitarian impact of all of this.
Indeed, that has always been the case. First, as I mentioned, we were talking about at least 33 killed thus far, including children. These children are the children of God. They're not the children of a lesser God just because they are Palestinians. So ignoring them as if they are numbers is morally deficient, whether it's by Israel or by the international community. Besides that, we're talking about a couple of hundred of injuries, in addition, of course, to the closure of the border, which means serious injuries that usually are taken to Israeli facilities and hospitals for treatment, including normal patients that go every day for cancer treatment and what have you, can't do that at this time because of the closure. So when you count all this, casualties, on both sides, if you will, but particularly, of course, they're more serious on the Palestinian side because of the numbers, quantitatively speaking, do not justify basically the waging of a politically motivated campaign, which to me fits the definition essentially of what terrorism is, state-sponsored violence against civilian targets for political purposes.
Khalil Jahshan, live for us at the Arab Center in Washington, D.C. Thanks for your insight.